Today's the day, Judgment Day. We're gonna dyno this 440 and see what kind of horsepower it makes to the tire through a non-lockup converter. So don't get your hopes up, but you know, somewhere around 400 horsepower or better is what I'm hoping for. This car came from Las Vegas, 1,800 feet elevation. You know, we're at 5,600 feet. So it's definitely got to be jetted down smaller. It's way too fat. This thing will barely run. So we're gonna get the carb off, take it inside and work on it. And then afterwards, if we got time, we're gonna scale the car too. Okay, we got this carburetor here. I don't really know how it works, but we're gonna figure it out. I do know one thing, it's jetted way too fat. This thing was hazing fuel when you get on it. When we were revving it up on the trailer, it was just dumping fuel out the exhaust, so I know it's way too fat. So let's see what size jets. I did watch a YouTube video, so I do know that the jets are inside these carburetor bowls. So let's pull these off, these 1/4-inch fasteners here, see what's inside. Also, I did learn this is the primaries and these are the secondaries. So the secondaries kick in after when you get at a higher throttle opening. So this is kind of like your main jetting, and then the secondaries I believe are more for like high RPM. If you're a little lean or fat, you'd want to change those, but usually they're within a couple sizes of each other. I did look, and the factory jetting should be, you know, somewhere around 87 or so on this carburetor. We'll see what was in there. Okay, so this is the float. So when it gets full of fuel, it shuts the needle off here. So this is how you adjust the float height. This pin here adjusts the float height, which adjusts how high the fuel level gets in here, which you want in about the middle of the sight glass on these. These are the jets right here. Okay, and it looks like these jets are 93s, which are bigger than stock, so no wonder it was slobbering. Let's pull these jets out and go smaller. It actually looks pretty clean inside, so I don't think it was a dirty problem inside the bowls. So we're going to take these 93s out, and I'd kind of already done a little research. We're going to try some 82s in there. So we're going down a bunch of sizes, see if this thing will idle a little bit better and make a little more power. Just checking the jets. Looks like all the little jets in here are open. Nothing's plugged, so put her back down there. Torque spec is good and tight, about 1 inch up on my thumb. It's probably like, I don't know, 40 inch-pounds or something. Now for the other side. Okay, that wraps up rejetting the carb. It looked pretty clean inside, so we're gonna throw it back on the car and hopefully it runs a lot better. We'll pull it in the shop. Let's sort on the scales. We got the race scales. Let's scale the car and see what it weighs, so we kind of have a baseline. And you know, for a race weight that it was before, then maybe we'll throw it on the dyno, see what kind of horsepower it makes, and who knows, we'll just take it from there. Maybe we'll do a burnout. Okay, we got the carb back on with the smaller jets. We messed with the timing and the idle mixture screws a little bit, and she runs pretty good. Idle's good and strong. Timing's bumped up to 30 degrees static. There's no advance. That's locked out on this distributor. Previous owner did it. I don't even have the weights to get back to the mechanical advance right now. So we're gonna see what it does, what it weighs. We're gonna go throw it on the corner scales. Let's scale this car and see how heavy it is. After that, we'll get up on the dyno, see how much power it makes with 30 degrees of timing. £3,052, excellent. Front to rear bias, 55% front, 45% rear. We can make a race car out of that. That's not a bad weight bias. Now, I don't know what it's gonna be when we put the Cummins, but I'm glad to have the numbers. So we have to stay under 3,600 pounds to get that 750 chassis cert I want. But beyond that, you know, we have a lot of room to play with to add weight if we have to you know, add horsepower to it, but ideally we'd like to stay the same weight as close as we can. Front to rear bias, like I said, that is totally doable. 55%, 45% rear. So let's throw this sucker on the dyno and see how much power we can make with a diesel mechanic tuned 1050 Dominator carb. I did get a little help from some buddies, but we're going to keep the timing conservative, 30 degrees, because I don't want to blow up this engine that I don't really know that much about. And we'll see what kind of power it makes. Okay, the first dyno pull was not very successful. We've been playing around the parking lot and I've been on the brakes kind of hard and it didn't really stop well. Well, it looks like this brake drum is dragging and it must be rusty in there. So when I jammed on the brakes hard, it's all locked up and you see all the smoke here. So first dyno pull, 254 horsepower, but it wouldn't pull through the load, and so we boarded the run, and as you can see with the smoke, that might be 50 horsepower. So note to self, if you're dynoing a car, make sure the dang brakes aren't dragging. We got to pull this wheel off, so Myra's going to help me do that and see if we can figure out what's going on in this drum. Okay, for the last dyno pull, we pulled off the air filter because that's what the Instagram guys told us we needed to do. We picked up a whopping 1 horsepower with that air filter off. 356 horsepower to the tires on a non-lockup torque converter at altitude. Take it or leave it. That's the best we could get out of this. Multiple times changing jets, played with the timing, and it's all she wanted to give up. So 356 horsepower. Seems like it made it right about 6,000 RPM. And thank goodness we had that air fuel ratio gauge we installed earlier, because she was really lean at first. And we had to fatten her up quite a bit, and it responded to that and ran a little better. So let's go see if this thing can do a wicked burnout at least before we rip out this engine and put in some real horsepower, some diesel horsepower. Be sure to tune in next time as we rip out this 440 big block, 727 automatic, and we replace it with some Cummins diesel power. Also, if you're interested in this 440 Mopar big block or the 727 reverse pattern rollerized trans-brake transmission with a 5,000 stall converter, send me an email at 440moparengine@gmail.com. Send me an offer if you want this stuff, and I'll give you any details I have on it, and let's make a deal. Tell me something cool about your project, and you might get a really good deal on this engine. Thanks.